When it comes to this century men, there are levels to it. I saw a creator explaining different levels of the century men, starting from the time that we were brainwashed, we were programmed to center boys, to want men or boys as our boyfriend, always want to do everything for them, till freedom. When you get to that part whereby you are like, you know what? These men are not for me. I have the center men and I'm going to center myself. Whatever makes me happy, whatever I'm going to do. So far, I am selfish with myself. I must decenter men. So when it comes to decentering men, there are different levels to it, to be honest. If you're decentering men or you have decentered men, you would know that there are levels to it. There'll be a point, there was a time whereby you are realizing that this thing doesn't make sense. Okay, there's stage, there's points, and all of that. Anyway, let me read a clip for us to watch together. Then we'll come back and talk about it.
The video where I asked women, at what age did you realize that getting married, having kids, being with a man, everything was a scam? That video hit 1 million views. So thank y'all so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I'm making this content because I wish I had this information when I was growing up. I didn't have an older sister or someone to tell me these things. I'm now an older sister, and so I just know the importance of getting this information as early as you can because it will save you, okay? It will save you. This video is about the levels and the layers of decentering men, okay? I put it together last night in my brain. I'm like, there is literally levels to this shit, and I need you to understand the levels, okay? I'm going to be looking right here because I wrote some things down just so I don't forget my thought process, so stick with me. Level 1. Level 1, let's call it programming. This is where we are taught that we need to desire romantic love from men, right? From boys, okay? And we're also taught at the same time that their bad behavior is a good thing. Yeah. So when they hit you, it means they love you. When they're mean to you, it means they really like you, they love you. Yeah. We're learning all these things, and this is where they failed us they failed us in the system. So you start collecting these experiences from young age, like through high school. We're literally trained to romanticize their red flags out the womb. We are taught to romanticize their red flags, and that's why we normalize it in relationships. Yeah. Level 2, the confusion stage, right? This is when you start sensing something is off, but you really can't identify it. You're like, this is not working, but why? You feel incompatible, but you start blaming yourself. This is when you're like, maybe if I was prettier, maybe if I was this, maybe if I was that, maybe if I just changed my hair, maybe if I learn how to dance, maybe if I do this for him, then he's gonna love me. You start blaming yourself. And you are taught that you're supposed to have butterflies. When you have butterflies, that means that they're your person. No, butterflies is your intuition telling you something. Listen to the butterflies. Don't just give into it, okay? Level 3, which is realization stage. This is when you've dated, you've gone through a few experiences and you start to realize, you're like, wait a damn minute, what is going on? And you start looking at men as a whole, right? Now you're looking at your uncle, your dad, your brother, your friends, the mailman, everyone. And you start to realize it's not that you've been choosing the wrong men. It might just be men that's a problem, right? It's like the whole system is kind of broken. And why is it broken? Because of the patriarchy, because men were taught to be a very specific way in society, and it does not help them. It does not help us either, but they are not as committed to breaking those barriers and systems as we are. That's the problem. This is the awakening. Like I said, this is when you start seeing that most men in your life are not the heroes that you thought. Yeah. Your dad is not this superhero man that you thought he was, right? Like, he's not actually doing the thing. You realize your mom has been doing half the work, more than half of the work that you thought your dad was doing. You realize that the women have been holding it down your whole life, and you thought the men were, because they also help the men. They help the man's image. Women, I don't know about you, but like, I grew up in an African household. So like, usually it's a matriarch, but the matriarch, even when women need help and the man is not helping, they will make it seem like they're being helped and being supported, which I never understood, but that's none of my business, okay? This is when all the rose-colored glasses start coming off. There is nothing to lie to yourself about anymore. You start seeing the truth. Next is level 5. This is the anger state. This is when you start getting mad. You start getting angry. And this is your righteous anger state. Acknowledge that this is completely normal. It's completely normal for you to be angry. It's completely normal for you to feel betrayed. It's completely normal for you to feel fed up. Your anger is not toxic. It is the first sign of your liberation. Repeat that. Your anger is not toxic. It's the first sign of liberation. When you start getting mad, that's your freedom state. That's where you can decide, what do you want to do with this energy? What do you want to do? Level 6 is the logic state, and this is where most people, most like women that have centered men, most men don't understand, because they're like, how can you be in this state where you just given up on the dream? Like, you got to keep dreaming, girl. Keep dreaming harder, dream hard. And it's like, no, it literally doesn't make sense anymore to uphold this storyline. It's so dangerous for my being, actually. This is when you start questioning, is this even what I want?
Yeah.
Like, does the math actually make sense? Does 1 plus 1 equal 2? And the answer is no, it never does, actually. It usually equals like a number where you never even thought you were going to get, and you end up getting that number and you're so confused. Like, how did the equation even get here? That's usually what happens, right? When you do the math on what you give versus what you get, the numbers don't lie. They tell you the truth. And then we reach level 7, which is freedom. This is where you want to be, okay? This is when you reach full liberation state. This is when you reach a level of neutrality. You feel settled. You don't feel anything. You feel indifference. You genuinely feel good without this programming. Your life feels like it's finally worth living, which is where I'm at. Freedom is building a life that is truly yours.
Yeah.
Freedom is looking around at all the things that you were taught to want, to desire, to be, to act, to whatever, and asking yourself, is this really what I want? Does this make sense for my life? And if the answer is no, you have to reorganize things. You have to reformat your life. You have to look at your life and just make changes according to what you want to see and how you want to be, and free yourself from all these storylines that you were told. As women, this is the most important thing we can do, because when you start decentering men, the byproduct is you start centering yourself, you start centering your sisterhood, you start centering your family, your community, and all the above. That's why this conversation is.
When it comes to us being brainwashed and the beginning of us centering men in our lives, it all started from where we are young. So I just believe that if you have decentered men, or you are decentering men, or you've actually passed the stage whereby you are realizing that this thing, the math is not my thing. These men are supposed to provide, they're supposed to protect, they're supposed to be there for us. They can't do anything. They're not even providing. You're now realizing that it was your mom that was actually taking care of you, doing everything, providing, protecting, leading as well, right? I just feel like once women have started this century, men have gotten to that stage, once you start having kids, I just feel like this is a time for you to, let those children, if you have daughters, let them know that you can center your life around men. I just feel like if we were taught from the beginning to be selfish, to put ourselves first, just the way men were taught, I don't think most women will be male centered in this generation, right? But then, because few women already started decentering men, I feel like this is the best time for us to start teaching our daughters how to decenter men from a very young age, that when they grow, they're going to center themselves around their life. And this is not just training the daughters on how to center themselves, this is also training your son and not making your son feel like everything needs to be done for you. I just feel like them two were spoiled at a very young age. I saw a creator talking about how men, when they were young, they were taught to be served. Like, you must serve boys. You serve the boys. For example, probably there is a boy and a girl in the family. Even though the boy is young or is older, it doesn't matter if it's an older brother or it's a younger brother or it's even the last born, it doesn't matter. They always teach the daughters to come to the kitchen, make sure you cook, make sure you sweep, wash the dishes, and all of that, while the sons are just left there. And once the food is ready, they call them like, Junior, food is ready, come and eat. In fact, sometimes if the junior pours the food away and goes out to play with his friends, once the mom comes back from work or from market or whatever she went to, instead of her shouting at junior like, come and sweep how this place that you scattered, she's going to start raising her voice on the daughter. Like, okay, yes, it poured it away. Why didn't you sweep it? Don't you know you're a woman? Don't you know you're going to be a woman one day? Don't you know you're a girl? Don't you know you're supposed to learn how to clean? Is this how you're going to do in your husband's house? And again, also saw another creator talking about dolls, buying dolls for our daughters, because these are the things that have actually programmed young girls on how to live their life. When it comes to dolls, we you can hardly see. In fact, I don't think people buy dolls for their boys. We buy dolls for our daughters, and they kind of, romanticize and feel like, oh, that's their baby. I have a baby. I have a baby. Not even know that they might not even want a baby at the long run. And these things are not advertised to boys. You cannot see a boy pointing at a doll, baby, or a teddy bear. Actually, will you buy a teddy bear for a boy? But if you have a girl child, you want to buy teddy bears for them. You want to buy dolls that has hair. Learn how to make hair, comb your baby hair. You're kind of program, and we don't know. We're kind of programming them on how to be a mom, how to be a wife, and all of that. But the boys, they are programmed on what they like, the kind of activities, the kind of hobby they like. You see boys buying, when you want to buy toys for the boys, you buy cars, you buy something that interests him. But when it comes to girls, sometimes, most of the time, we don't even look at the things that interest them. We want to buy things that we feel like they need. When it comes to the dolls, some of the time we buy different sewing kits. Okay, how to, you must learn how to sew or make hair. Use this baby doll baby to learn how to make hair. In fact, there's even what's it called? This fake baby doll that looks so real, like a baby. I don't think I've seen any boy or man buy that thing. It is always the women or girls that have it, because they feel like they are the ones that need it. And these are the things that are programming young girls to think like, okay, if you grow to a certain age, you must want to reproduce, you must want to have a child, you must think of having a child and having a family. If you go to a certain age, you must serve men, because you have been serving your brother, you were serving your father. You see the mother, questioning her daughters, fighting her daughters, or beating her daughters and saying, your dad is back from work, you didn't give him water, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. But they will never face the boy child. Like, these are the things you're gonna do. In fact, the only thing the boy child sometimes might do are the things that are for him. He always prioritize himself. They always make the boy child to go and play with their friends, go and play football, the things that interest them, not the things that they want them to be interested in, are the things that interest them. So these boys have been taught from young age to put themselves first, to be selfish. And that is why we women, we've been taught when we're young to always put people first, put other people interest ahead of us, put things in front, and make sure that whatever is happening, even though we're not happy about it, so far other people are happy about it, we choose it. And that is the thing, when you start decentering men, or when you have decentered men, you will realize that doing all of that is just not it, because at the end of the day, you're just actually killing yourself in the process, right? So, what level are you on when it comes to the aspect of the century men? For me, I feel like I'm on my freedom level. I feel like I've got to the freedom level in the sense that I have realized, I've seen that, okay, this whole thing was just all a lie. To be honest, it was just sold to us. The whole fairy tale, the whole thing about it is just, and to me, most of the time people say it's not all men, it is all men, unless I just feel like if your man is not doing one or two that we are talking about, is because he decided not to. all men are capable of raping. In my own head, all men are capable of doing so many terrible things. If they are not doing it yet, it's because maybe they don't have the opportunity, or maybe they have actually come like, okay, you know what, I'm not gonna do this, and that is because they choose and decide not to. The kind of power men have in the society, they can do anything and get away with it. You will see a man that actually was abusing his wife, domestically abusing his wife, physically abusing his wife, domestic violence, I wanted to say. And the moment the wife retaliates by just doing something, and probably he passed away or something, very, he goes to coma or something, you will see the whole, everybody's looking at her, oh, you're a bad woman. In fact, she might even go to jail for the whole thing. She might be in prison. She might be sentenced in prison for what she did. But the man has been beating her, and nobody's saying anything about it because they feel like it is a normal thing for a man. Men are stronger than women and all of that. Women are not always favored in society. And yeah, it has been like that. So the moment you realize and see that if you keep centering your lives around this man, it's like you're taming your life, you're pushing yourself backward, and you're not actually real or living the kind of life you want to. You're not going to be really be happy because you don't have that inner peace. You're not going to be happy. You just find out that everything you're doing, you're not even happy about it because you're centering your life around men. What is your take on this conversation? Let me know the level you're at down in the comment section. Are you in the level of realization? Are you in the level of, there's so many levels in that video? I forgot to let me know your thought down in the comment section. Especially check out my reviews, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in my next one.